Most traders spend years getting better at reading charts, but almost none of them spend any time getting better at managing the person reading them. And that's the whole problem. You've been in this long enough to know your setup. You know what your confluences are. You've seen the move play out exactly the way you expected, but you talked yourself out of taking it. Then you took trades you knew didn't fit your trading plan. Same knowledge, different days, different person. That's what this video is about. Your performance as a trader isn't fixed. It fluctuates, and not based on how much you know. It fluctuates based on what state you're in when you sit down to trade. There was a study on Israeli judges making parole decisions across a full workday. Right after a break, they approved parole roughly 65% of the time. By the end of a long session before the next break, that rate dropped to nearly zero. Same judges, same cases. The only thing that changed was their state of mind. These are trained professionals making legal decisions, and their judgment collapsed based on when in the day they were asked to use it. You're making probabilistic calls under uncertainty in real time with money on the line. If their decision quality degraded that sharply, what does that say about the rest of us? The problem is that the person executing is in a different state of mind every trade. The ancient Greeks had a word for it, Akrasia, acting against your own better judgment, knowing the right thing and doing something else anyway. Aristotle didn't treat it as a character flaw. He said it's a structural tension. There are two parts of you in competition, the rational and the emotional, and whichever one has been more prepared before the moment arrives is the one that usually wins. His answer wasn't willpower, it was preparation before the pressure. There's a story from the Odyssey that I keep coming back to. Odysseus is sailing past the Sirens, creatures whose singing drove every sailor who heard it to madness. He wanted to hear them without dying, so he had his crew plug his ears with wax and had himself tied to the mast and gave one instruction: no matter what I say, don't untie me. He heard them. He screamed to be released. His crew refused. He survived. Odysseus didn't trust in the moment. He made the decision from a calm state before the pressure arrived and built a structure that couldn't be overridden when his emotions tried to take over. Your trading routine is the mast, the plan you write before the session opens. That's the rope. The version of you that wants to revenge trade, hold a loser, jump in without confirmation, that's the siren. The decision isn't made in the moment, it was made before it. So what actually changes that? Not motivation, not trying harder in the moment. When you're stressed, underslept, carrying something from early in the day, cortisol is elevated. Elevated cortisol directly suppresses activity in the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain handling risk assessment, impulse control, rational decision making. You don't feel impaired. You open the chart and feel completely fine. But your risk tolerance has shifted. Your patience is shorter. You're more likely to act on incomplete information and feel certain about it. If your state is the variable, what controls your state? A routine works because it does something specific before you ever open a chart. It brings the nervous system back to baseline. It signals to the brain that what comes next requires a different mode. Sports psychologists call it a pre-performance state, and the research on athletes using structured pre-session rituals show consistent improvement in decision quality under pressure. Surgeons use pre-operative checklists because the ritual reduces errors. It forces attention before high-stake work begins. Same mechanism, different context. A routine has 3 phases. Each one has a specific job. The first is a state reset. Before you open any platform, 10 minutes of movement, deliberate breathing, writing down whatever's sitting at the front of your mind. The goal isn't to feel calm. The goal is to get the prefrontal cortex online before you ask it to perform. The second is market preparation. Top down, macro context first. What's the dollar doing? Is there news risk today? Then the pairs, and for each one, write down specifically what you need to see before you take any action. Not a vague bias, one sentence. If you can't write it in one sentence, it's not specific enough. The third is the one most people skip. Read your rules before the session. Decide your risk allowance. If you're making these decisions while you're trading, you've already lost. Every decision you make before you're under pressure is a better decision than the one you'd make inside it. The whole point of a routine is to leave yourself as few decisions as possible during your trading. Try this for 5 days. Before you open the platform, write down 3 things: your bias for the day, one specific thing you need to see before you take the trade, and your maximum risk for that session. That's it, 5 minutes. If you want to see exactly how I build my top-down bias, you can watch my next weekly analysis video.